Okay, video attempt number 2,000,010. I don't know, what I'm trying to say is that as if it doesn't sort of stop recording and disconnects, it's quite important to get video memories, or memories of any sort. This album, 30 years old, this album, and basically I used to take lots of photos when I was young, and then in 1990 they stopped. So it's sort of like quick and simple. And so since 1990, 20 years ago, absolutely nothing's happened in my life. Nothing at all. Nothing photograph worthy anyway. Now, my percent friend doesn't take photos. She's rubbish at taking photos. And so once you find yourself in that sort of situation, you realise that there's no one taking photos of you, and you've actually got to do it yourself. And it's not the easiest thing in the world to do. Um, I mean, now these days it's a lot easier in the sense that everyone's got, looking over there to the phones over there. I think maybe you can see that I'm looking at my phone, but I've got a phone and a camera on it, and I can take photos of myself. But 22 years ago, I was probably one of the only people with a camera. People would actually know me as someone with a camera. Not that I was well known for having a camera, but I mean, back then it was like if you had a car, people said, "Oh, he's got a car, he can help us out." Well, if you've got a camera, he says, "Oh, he's got a camera, maybe he can come around and take some photos." You go to a party and one or two, three or four people would have a camera, and maybe having a camera would be maybe a party piece or something that would maybe make you popular with the girls. Not that I really know much about that because I really went to parties, but the fact of the matter is, cameras are a bit special back then, 22 years ago. And these days, everyone's got a camera and everyone can take photos. I'm going to try and keep it all as quick as possible. Not really any point in any of this, but it might disconnect soon. But basically, these days, people can take so many more photos. But the thing is, obviously, that they are easy to lose as well. Easy come, easy go. I mean, for example, I've got this album, and the photos in here, which I can't even remember, I've said this 10 times or not, pain me. But I actually look at these photos and I think that's a load of crap. Really is. I mean, when you go through life, what did I do that was worthwhile and significant and memorable and what am I glad of? And there's virtually nothing. So, but you take that experience and then you build on it and you sort of think, well, what was worth reflecting on? And you become a little more conscious about taking photos, which is the reason why I'm doing this video. And it's not the only reason, but this is why I'm talking like this, because I was thinking, why am I doing a video like this? Because what I'm doing, essentially, regardless of how, and this is, I don't know, I mean, regardless of how I might do things in a million years, I might look at this in 10 years' time, and I might be, I might say, well, that's good. I'm glad I'm looking at this because I can see who I was then, and whether that's good or bad. And I smiled then, and that was sort of like one of these things that I was talking about in the other video. You sort of do things, and I think taking videos like this is quite a vain thing to do. And maybe someone like me, this is where I'm sort of quite good at, to some extent, although it can irritate certain people, is sort of smiling or sort of, doing really quirky things that when you look at certain people, you actually sort of you see them do it and you think they're doing it deliberately. And sometimes they're not doing it deliberately. But so, for example, you might see someone on TV and they do something and it's all theatrical and facial expressions, and then you get sort of people that copy them, and you can see that they're copying them. So if I do something like that, you can sort of there's these little things, I call them shotgun things, the sort of the little techniques, sort of, just doing certain things that will, in a video, have an impact or an effect. But when you sort of do them deliberately, they kind of suck. And I'm not sure whether what I'm talking about. But all I'm saying is that even in 10 years' time, I might sit here and sort of look at these videos and sort of think, well, was that normal or was that me trying to be clever? And at the moment, I'm not trying to be clever. It's just doing those sort of things, you know, as an example of things that, you know, people could do, and it's a completely pointless issue, really. But what I'm trying to sort of get to here is in 10 years' time, I can see this video and see who I was and see how I behaved, regardless of the fact I'm talking about absolutely nothing. This is, you know, I'm just recording something, you know, to some extent to maybe to record my movements or not to record my movements. And I can sit here motionless, not ever move my head like they do on the, you know, on the news channels on TV. You know, they actually learn how to perform, and I don't really do that. You know, I'm just sort of being quite natural. But all this is better. I focus on not moving, and you know, any slight movements would be far more significant and less sort of pronounced, instead of moving my head around all the time like a donkey or you know, sort of all that sort of crap. But the point is, we can record these things. We can record existence and time and presence, and we can reflect on it in a year's time. Now, because I've done this about 6 times already, I'm actually forgetting some of the things. I haven't covered that. Some of the things I might have covered, some things I might not. I can't remember now. But one of the points I was sort of making, and maybe make a game if I haven't already made it, and it's all quite interesting when you consider space-time paradoxes. I don't know who you check this. But 10 years, 20 years ago, 22 years ago, and that was the end of it. So 30 years ago was probably when it was starting, and 25 years ago was when it was good. I would record things, you know, take some photos, and no problem, and that's sort of about all that. The thing is, they were sort of semi-permanent. Now back then, it was quite difficult to take a photo, and all my photos are crap. So photos are sort of, well, maybe the ones I've got in there are not so, I shouldn't be so harsh on them because they were all the reject photos. All the good ones actually, the proper photos in their chronological order. Where this one's all the rejects, where I've got all the ones, because these are very fragile, precious things. They're the only photos of me, so I put them on that album, and they're not very good. But back then it was quite difficult. But the point is, what I'm trying to sort of say here, I haven't really said it, is that these days you can record things, and for example on YouTube, and we have no way of actually getting that. It's on YouTube, and I said before that you know that I see YouTube as being you know an agent of evil to some extent, because essentially they own our memories, or they own my memories in this instance. They own this memory, and my objective is to create this memory and to preserve it for future reference, which is a priceless object. And people like YouTube will arbitrarily, I use the word deliberately, arbitrarily, they will delete this video. They will delete my account if I swear, if I break any of their very, very vague terms. Now I say this quite deliberately, I try to sort of maybe downplay it because I don't really want to talk too much about things like this, but I used to have a MySpace account and I had thousands of photos, because I would take, you know, 10, 20 photos and I'd upload them all. And they were photos of me, and I had photograph albums that represent things that I was doing maybe sort of 10 years ago, 5 years ago, between that period. And MySpace regularly deleted them all. And I actually bought a printer, I've still got it here, but I never use it, to actually start proactively trying to print out photos that I've taken with my digital camera. But the point is, what I'm sort of trying to get to is all memories are pretty important to yourself as a person, especially as you sort of become maybe more isolated from reality, because as I am, I say that lightly, I'm not trying to scare people, but I mean, as I said, she's not going to take photos of me. No one's taking photos of me, and the only point of reference I've got is what the effort I make to take photos of myself. And I'm not vain. I'm not vain at all. But when you put things into perspective, it's nice to have a point of reference, so you can see who you were. Because I will be an old man at some point, and I'll look back on this very moment and say I was still quite young. I think I do more with my life, and I don't want to go into that. But it's obviously something I'm aware of. But the, I mean, the thing is, I don't know. I just think that this whole issue of recording the present for the future as the past is actually, really quite a significant and overlooked aspect of our current status in life, so to speak. I was actually looking at, it was a video of Rob Robb, right, some US Marine, and he was arrested by Stasi for nothing at all, and he was detained, and he was released a week later, and then he did a video. It just struck me as interesting to watch him in the video because he was somehow, I don't know, I mean, he hasn't, he's now a somebody, and you can almost imagine him perhaps leveraging on the fact that he's now a someone. And I mean, the US government sort of did him a favour by making him a celebrity and a household name. What he does with that is something else. I don't really care about that, but it was interesting that he was then being recorded afterwards in an interview, um, and it just made me realise that it doesn't really matter what he says, what he does. I mean, you can see him there and then in that video, and so I thought I would do a video myself, but I've got nothing to say. And so, but the fact of the matter is, what I'm sort of washing around here is just the whole concept of recording our position in the space-time continuum, regardless of who you are and what you've got to say. And as Mark always said before, one of the frustrating things is that YouTube owns this. I don't own this. I cannot save this to my hard disk. I'm entirely reliant. YouTube wasn't here 10 years ago, and I think I said this already, but YouTube won't be here in 10 years' time. There'll be something else, and this format of video will be obsolete and antiquated, and people say, we don't support that sort of technology anymore. And even memories, they're so very temporary. I record it onto a floppy disk. Now, I've got some photos that I scanned in onto a floppy disks, but I can't read floppy disks anymore. So then I got to convert them to CDs, and I turned around and found that my CDs have decayed. They don't work anymore. And what I'm sort of getting to is vast swathes of memory can be obliterated. You can lose a computer, you lose your hard drive. You don't realise that you've not backed up all your memories. There are lots of other reasons for losing lots of memories. For example, if you get raided by the police and they steal them all, but that's all sort of something else really. But there's lots of, no one expects the unexpected. But even just recording who you are, regardless of who you are, is something that's so easy to do and yet so underrated or under considered with a particular regards to how easy it is to lose it. So you get this fantastic ability to record things and then don't really preserve them and lose them all. So I mean, I'm looking at myself, and the thing is, I am looking at myself here. I sort of like to do these videos because I like to sort of look at who is that bloke? That's actually me, and then you can. I'm sort of looking at my hair, thinking, what if, my hair looks a mess. I'm beginning to get that sort of hair that manky old men get, sort of greyish, and I mean, I'm no longer young. I'm not sure I'm not alone, but it's kind of, my teeth yellow. I still have them teeth. One thing I will do, we've got 32 seconds, but I'm interested. I don't know how easily I can do this. Now I'm sort of holding my breath in there, but I just wanted to sort of maybe get some recording of me not being fat